We love stone milling, passionate about stone milling, committed to stone milling. Stone milling is the most wonderful thing on the planet with one big exception. It's super variable. And what that means is that each lot of wheat, each field that we work with, everything's always a little bit different. And what that means is that we need a test bakery, which is where I am right now. We need a whole lot of lab testing equipment. And myself and Garima, who is in charge of QA, always have to be in conversation to see how each lot of wheat is performing. Even more so right now, we're just after harvest time. We've got new lots of wheat from our small family farms out in California. And the big question that we have to determine is the 2022 harvest, which we got used to working with and grew very fond of. We have to make sure that this new harvest of 2023 is going to work just as well, or whether there are any tweaks that we need to make to our formulas to adjust for this new harvest. It's always a little nerve-wracking, but that's why we do a lot of testing. So my goal today, first, make sure to check in with Garima and see that all of the testing looks up to snuff. And then I want to do some small bakes with each of these harvests side by side, see how the bread performs, see how it tastes, ultimately how it bakes. So join me as we start testing each of our harvests. Each of these varietals, they're grown in the north of California. Might get a little more info on that, make sure that they're both grown in the Sacramento Valley. Really, they are great for our bread baking. And they're a class of soft winter wheat, which means that their protein isn't too high, but structurally they're perfect for bread baking. Currently, the only application that we're using this California wheat is in our sliced breads that we make for the retailers out on the West Coast and for milling in our mill in Sebastopol, California, just a little north of San Francisco. First, I want to check all the different tests that we did at the lab using our own lab equipment. Check with Garima and check with Garima and get a sense of what I should be looking for when I conduct our bake tests. Any concerns that she has, things that we should look for. I've got what is called a bench recipe. I don't even know, we're not gonna make it on a bench. I guess once upon a time there were benches that you made them on, but it's a small recipe. It is about 1/100th of our normal recipe. It's just a little 5-pound dough. And we're gonna do a 5-pound dough for the 2022, a 5-pound dough for the 2023. And I'm gonna ask for help from Marina, who's the head baker here at the Test Bakery, because she's gonna do a far better job than I could. She's much more precise about measurements, so I trust her a lot more than I trust myself. Así tenemos las dos recetas y ya como sabes, tenemos la cosecha de California de 2022 y ya ha llegado la nueva cosecha de 23 y queremos hacer una receta súper pequeña comparando uno con el otro. Así cada uno sea de 5 libras. Así la pregunta es si puede pesar cada uno y lo batimos y ver cómo va. Nice. So this is the 2022 harvest, the 2023. So far, we ended up proofing these for about an hour and 10 minutes, which is about average. This is a low protein source, so I wasn't expecting to see them really puff, but the one thing I'm seeing is that they're both behaving more or less the same going into the oven. That's a good sign, and that's what we want to see. So I'm going to go ahead and bake these off. Both of these have kind of baked off the way I'd hope. It's a low protein source, wanted to see it in our bread application, and the biggest goal was seeing how the 2022 harvest fared with the 2023. As we know from our testing, the lab testing that is, we know that they're alike. The bake test though gives me more confidence than ever that as these land in our larger scale bakery formulas, they're going to excel. And for us, that's kind of the final hurdle before they get launched into our sliced bread baking formulas. Warm sliced bread. It always works.